Yesterday we stopped at grouping the Noble Eightfold Path into 3 groups of moral discipline, concentration, and wisdom group. I'm going to continue after the numbering. Within the Nikayas, however, this correlation occurs only once at Majjhima Nikaya 44. At I301, where it is ascribed to the nun Dhammadina, not to the Buddha himself. It might be said that the 2 wisdom factors are placed at the beginning because a preliminary right view and right intention are required at the outset of the path. Right view providing the conceptual understanding of Buddhist principles that guides the development of the other path factors. Right intention, the proper motivation and direction for the development of the path. This one is more like the refresher to what the book we read before, the Noble Eightfold Path. Yeah. For more details, read that book again. Okay, Sister Saiken, would you like to continue?
In the Nikayas, the Buddha often expounds the practice of the path as a gradual training, anupubasika, that unfolds in stages from the first step to the final goal. This gradual training is a final subdivision of the threefold division of the path into moral discipline, concentration, and wisdom. Invariably, in the suttas, the exposition of the gradual training begins with the going forth into homelessness and the adoption of the lifestyle of a bhikkhu, a Buddhist monk. This immediately calls attention to the importance of the monastic life in the Buddha's pragmatic vision. In principle, the entire practice of the Noble Eightfold Path is open to people from any mode of life, monastic or lay. And the Buddha confirms that many among his lay followers were accomplished in the Dharma and had attained the first 3 of the 4 stages of awakening, up to the non-returning Anagami. Theravada commentators say that lay followers can also attain the 4th stage, Arahantship, but they do so either on the verge of death or after attainment immediately seek the going forth. The fact remains, however, that the household life inevitably fosters a multitude of mundane concerns and personal attachments that impede the single-hearted quest for liberation. Thus, when the Buddha set out on his own noble quest, he did so by going into homelessness. And after his enlightenment, as a practical way to help others, he established the Sangha, the order of monks and nuns, for those who want to devote themselves fully to the Dharma, unhindered by the cares of household life.
Thanks, Sister Saiken. This paragraph mostly talks about going forth into homelessness, the adoption of the lifestyle of a Buddhist monk, or in the sutta called bhikkhu. Bhikkhu Bodhi here mentioned, in principle, the Noble Eightfold Path, the entire practice, is open to everyone, to any people from any mode of life, monastic or lay. Let me highlight this. Yeah. The Buddha confirms that even among his lay followers, there were a few accomplished in the Dharma. But here is the important part, the one highlighted in red. The fact remains that household life fosters a multitude of concerns and personal attachment that really makes it difficult to practice. We are all lay people here. We have different concerns. But for me, because I still need to work, that one is probably one of the largest, let's say, hindrance. Not hindrance in terms of the 5 hindrances, but it takes a lot of my time. Yeah. And as lay people, I have to work. If not, after a while, yeah, I would not be able to pay the bill. So I would say this is one of the toughest challenge that I have to juggle if I were to really want to practice, and I have to find, have to earn money to pay the bills as well. For some of you, or for most of you, it might be different because some of you have retired. So you might have enough money, or you feel like you have enough money until the rest of your life, but maybe you have other concerns as well. You maybe have a spouse, maybe you have parents to take care of. So multitude of concerns as a household life. If we really want to practice all the way to liberation. That is why the Buddha established the Sangha for those who really serious in practicing the path. They can go forth into the life of homelessness, adopting the lifestyle of a Buddhist monk. Here is also interesting. A Buddhist monk. I was like, why do you call that a Buddhist monk? Are there other kinds of monk? Turns out after doing some research, there are actually other monks of other religions. Because I was only exposed to Buddhism, so I thought monks is only from Buddhists. So they are Benedictine monks, they are Hindu monks as well. So that's why this qualification is important. A Buddhist monk. Sister Akim, would you like to continue?
The gradual training occurs in 2 versions, a longer version in the Digha Nikaya and a middle-length version in the Majjhima Nikaya. The principal differences are the longer version has a more detailed treatment of the observance that pertain to monastic etiquette and ascetic self-restraint. Number 2, the longer version includes 8 types of higher knowledge, while the middle-length version has 3 types. However, as these 3 types are the ones mentioned in the Buddha's account of his own enlightenment, see text 2, 3.2, they are by far the most important. The main paradigm for the longer version of the gradual training is found in Digha Nikaya 2. The middle-length version is at Majjhima Nikaya 27 and Majjhima Nikaya 51, with variants at Majjhima Nikaya 38, 39, 53, 107, and Majjhima Nikaya 125. Here, text 7.4 includes the whole of Majjhima Nikaya 27, which embeds the training in the simile of the elephant's footprint that gives the sutta its name. Text 7.5, an excerpt from Majjhima Nikaya 39, repeats the higher stages of the training as described in Majjhima Nikaya 27, but includes the impressive similes not included in the latter version.
Thanks, Sister Akim. Here we go, put a bunch of references for those in case you are interested to read the full suttas itself. You can take a look at all these numbers. Here, mostly is taken on Majjhima Nikaya and few is taken from Digha Nikaya. Bhikkhu Bodhi himself wrote, for Digha Nikaya, Bhikkhu Bodhi himself sometimes wrote a book for each sutta. So Digha Nikaya 1, Bhikkhu Bodhi wrote one book of it. Digha Nikaya 2, Bhikkhu Bodhi wrote one book of it. I'm not sure how many books he wrote for Digha Nikaya. Probably around 2 or 3. We can check that out afterwards. Sister Billy, would you like to continue?
The sequence opens with the appearance of a Tathagata in the world and his exposition of the Dhamma. Having heard this, the disciple acquires faith and follows the teacher into homelessness. He then undertakes the rules of discipline that promote the purification of conduct and the right livelihood of an ascetic. The next 3 steps, contentment, restraint of the sense faculties, and mindfulness and clear comprehension, internalize the process of purification and thereby bridge the transition from moral discipline to concentration. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sister Billy. This paragraph explains what Bhikkhu Bodhi mentioned before, the gradual training. The first sequence, as mentioned in the 2 previous paragraphs, usually when one acquires enough faith, we follow the teacher into homelessness. Afterwards, he takes rules of discipline to purify his conduct and right livelihood. Here you may wonder, what is the right livelihood in terms of Buddhist monks? What do you think is the right livelihood in terms of Buddhist monks? Is there even a livelihood for them? Do they need to earn money? Okay, so at one time Shifu mentioned that the right livelihood for Buddhist monks is to go for alms round. That is how they obtain the requisites, the 4 requisites. What is the 4 requisites? Food, shelter, medicine, and robes. Usually medicine is the last. Food, shelter, robes, and medicine. Is there a wrong livelihood for monks? Actually, there are. Yeah. You guys know what it is? Wrong livelihood for Buddhist monks is actually listed in Digha Nikaya. Either Digha Nikaya 1 or 2. Some Buddhist monks perform, let's say, fortune telling. Some Buddhist monks go and play chess. Some Buddhist monks, a lot of stuff are listed on there. They perform magic for the lay people. A lot of they perform errands or errands for the kings. They become the messengers. A lot of the different wrong livelihood listed in that suttas. Okay, and next 3 steps: contentment, restraint of the sense faculties, and mindfulness and clear comprehension. And thereby bridge the transition from initially practicing the sila, moral discipline, to concentration. Sister Chai Kwan, would you like to continue?
The section on the abandonment of the 5 hindrances deals with the preliminary training in concentration. The 5 hindrances, sensual desire, ill will, dullness and drowsiness, restlessness and remorse, and doubt, are the principal obstacles to meditative development, and thus they must be removed for the mind to become collected and unified. The stock passage on the gradual training treats the overcoming of the hindrances only systematically, but other texts in the Nikayas provide more practical instructions, while the Pali commentaries offer even more details. The similes in the version of Majjhima Nikaya 39, see text 7, chapter 5, illustrate the joyful sense of freedom that one wins by overcoming the hindrances. Thank you.
Thanks, Sister Shaikon. Last time, Sister Shomei were asking about the 5 hindrances. It's actually included in this book too. Yeah, so read on more to find out about it. But some of you also have kindly provided a very quick summary in the group chat. And previously, there's also a whole article in Access to Insight about the 5 hindrances. So you can take a look at that as well. Very simply, the 5 hindrances are sensual desire, ill will, dullness and drowsiness, restlessness and remorse, and the last one, doubt. And each person, the hindrances that's the strongest for that person is different to each individual. For me, I would say I probably don't have much ill will. I don't get angry often. The biggest two for me is probably sensual desire and dullness and drowsiness. I don't think I have much doubt. Yeah, of course I do have to a certain extent, but not many. Remorse a little bit, but not many. Okay. Sister Shawmei, would you like to continue?
The next stage in the sequence describes the attainment of the jhanas, profound states of concentration in which the mind becomes fully absorbed in its object. The Buddha enumerates 4 jhanas named simply after their numerical position in the series, each more refined and elevated than its predecessor. The jhanas are always described by the same formulas, which in several suttas are augmented by similes of great beauty. Again, see text 7.5. Although wisdom rather than the concentration is the critical factor in the attainment of enlightenment, the Buddha invariably includes the jhanas in the gradual training for at least 2 reasons. First, because they contribute to the intrinsic perfection of the path. And second, because the deep concentration they induce serves as a basis for the arising of insight. The Buddha calls the jhanas the footsteps of the Tathagata. Majjhima Nikaya 27.19 to 22, and shows them to be precursors of the bliss of Nibbana that lies at the end of the training.
Thanks, Sister Shami. Here, this sutta talks about the jhanas, the 4 jhanas, and Bhikkhu Bodhi mentioned wisdom is the critical factor in the attainment of enlightenment. But the jhanas are important for 2 reasons. The jhanas are important for 2 reasons. First, they contribute to the intrinsic perfection of the path. Second reason, deep concentration serves as a foundation, as a basis for the arising of wisdom, the arising of insight. So this is why the jhanas are important. While the jhanas may seem remote to us, it is still good to know how we can achieve it and can see how the path ahead looks like. And for some of you that have been meditating for a while, you may feel a sense of that peacefulness that you can attain. Not to the extent of jhana, but to at least to some degree. And if you practice it further, then you will be able to intensify that peacefulness, so to speak. Okay, I'll continue to read one more. Never mind, I'll continue this tomorrow because it pertains to the 3 alternative lines, which we will explore tomorrow. Any questions or comments from any of you? Which hindrance do you have is the strongest for you? Sister Shome is laughing. All 5 of them. Okay.
Oh, for me, drowsiness is terrible.
Drowsiness,
That's a big hindrance. Yeah. Yeah. So not sleeping enough also doesn't help.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So there was once I purposely go and sleep and I meditated. then it's so much better. But that's funny, right? It's not supposed to be the way, I guess. Yeah, drowsiness is very difficult for me.
Do you think the cause is just not enough sleep, or are there other causes?
Yeah, I think one of it is not enough sleep, and the other is the heat. Sometimes it's the heat. It feels so hot, and then after a while, I just drowsy. And recently, I got a new problem. I realized that when the teacher goes through one one round, like body scan or relaxation, then after that I just relax and I just get drowsy. It's like my whole concentration was so well before, but after that it's just drowsy. Yeah. Then when I'm on my own, not listening, then I tend to switch between drowsiness and restlessness. So there's a lot of thoughts. Then after the thoughts stop, right, and I get drowsy. So yeah, it's challenging, but I guess just have to persevere.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I know a lot of people told me they tried to meditate, but they fell asleep instead. I'm not too sure why, but I think for me, myself, I think enough sleep is one of the biggest factor. Second factor is eating too much. After eating too much, then I will feel very heavy, very sleepy. They call it, so to speak, food coma. That would be my 2 main causes for drowsiness. And how about Saikin?
Actually, during the retreat, right, you will have either one of them. They will come up. Yeah, the hindrances. And Venerable Dhammadina, the bhikkhuni, she explains actually there is a mental, sloth and torpor, and there's this physical. That means you are really very tired because your body is tired. That's why you sort of like cannot meditate. So she said to differentiate between the two, actually is to try out, okay, if you really falling asleep and you really go and sleep. Then after your sleep, right, you come back and meditate. Still very sleepy. Your body has recovered from that tiredness already, but you're still sleepy. So that is the mental obstacle, the mental hindrance of getting sleepy. So it's a mind thing. It means your mind just thought to think to yourself that you are sleepy. Yeah, I have this type of experience before during the retreat. Your mind just doesn't want to meditate. It just wants to go somewhere. So the easiest way actually, because your mind knows that when you have restlessness, it's very difficult. Sometimes we fight and then we have restless for a long period of time and the time just seems very long. But if you have sloth and torpor, you knock off, it actually is, the time passes faster. So then your mind really has this inner clock and tell you that, why don't you just rest for a while? So you just sleep, and then you feel the time pass so fast to the next bell, that kind of thing. Yeah. And then once in a while, you said you don't have ill will, right? Ill will will come. Your leg will start to have discomfort. Then you will have this wanting the pain to go away. Yeah, so that is where ill will come out already. And then when you meditate, and then suddenly the window, right, the smell coming in. So your sensual desire is lifted up already. Then you are start thinking of food already. You are thinking about what is my sister buying lunch? What type of lunch am I going to have? So that is the sensual desire part. The doubt part, is also there one, because you always have this thinking, I'm doing meditation for so long already, no improvement, and then why am I meditating? You know, and then also constantly, I tell you, these 5 hindrances comes and go. So you just have to look at your mind, and sometimes the Venerable says, just by looking at them, they will go away. But sometimes a bit difficult is like the sloth and torpor. If really cannot, then you just counteract. That means you open your eyes, or you go and do walking meditation, you know. And if you are really physically tired now, that means after you walk and then your body wake up already, then you sit down, immediately you also will want to fall asleep. So you have to go and investigate actually. It's quite fun sometimes during the retreat, just to get your crazy mind go here, there, everywhere, and all the hindrances. Yeah.
And thanks again for sharing your retreat experience. You can see Sai Kiang really has practiced well. You can see from her experience. Just to clarify, I didn't say that I don't have ill will or doubt, but all 5 hindrances exist in me, but it doesn't affect me as much as other people. Other people get agitated very easily, gets angry very easily, at the slightest trigger. They shout at other people, they get irritated, they harbor resentment. Yeah. And doubt, of course, I do have doubts, but well, I mean, after reading the Dhamma for a while, the doubt has diminished. Of course, I have doubt, because if I don't have doubt, I would probably be ordained right now. Yeah. But like I mentioned again, the 2 hindrances that affect me the most would be the sensual desire, and the third one, dullness and drowsiness. Yeah. But thanks again, Sai Kiang, for sharing your experience. Okay. With that, would Brother Hodji like to do the closing dedication?
回向愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿具象地孝行，自是常行无大道。
谢谢 Brother Hodji. Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a hindrance-free Tuesday ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. See you guys
See y'all
next time.
tomorrow.